Wow, everybody in entertainment black, even when they not. This is crazy.
Mm-hmm. That's what I say when I see Julia Roberts. Right, look at Julia Roberts, black ass.
Black ass, that curly ass hair, Pretty Woman. You saw that shit?
Get out of here.
We're running away from all those men.
With your black ass, Julia Roberts.
Trying to get a ring.
The government growing babies. Microchips in your anus. All koala bears are racist. The ozone layer owes me money. Martians invented turkey stuffing. Y'all can't tell me nothing.
Bang, 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 skeet, skeet, skeet. There it is. Welcome to another phenomenal episode of My Mama Told Me.
The podcast where we dive deep into the pockets of black conspiracy theories.
And we finally work to prove that the J in Mary J. Blige stands for Just Stop Hurting My Feelings. I'm tired of singing about pain. It is a terribly long middle name. She really went off on that one.
That's just like Mary.
Just like
Very
Mary, I'm Langston Kerman.
I'm David Bory.
And we are your hosts
never mind.
of this lovely podcast. And you can already hear our guest today. She's already tagging in. She had a lot of trouble, David, with technology as a whole, I would say.
As someone who suffers with technology in general, I found it endearing.
Okay. This was something you enjoyed, watching her struggle with basic computer functions.
I don't know what WWW stands for, so yeah, I like it.
I wouldn't say it's basic. Y'all had me open up settings. Once you start getting into settings, that's like genius work.
Yeah,
like,
settings is God tier. Like, who are you trying to impress?
Like, let's come
All
down.
right. They truly put a magnifying glass on our computers so that we would never have to even know where to go anymore. But you guys are nailing it. I'm proud of you both, differently, but equally proud. Our guest today, we haven't introduced her properly. Our guest today, very funny comedian, hysterical. She has an album that she'll be recording in Berkeley in September. Am I remembering correctly?
That is correct.
She's phenomenal. We're so happy to have her here. Please give it up for our guest, Miss Felicia Folkes.
Yay! Huge crowd. Wow.
Big crowd.
So many people here tonight.
Just be yourself.
I'm so excited. This is it myself, David. Unfortunately, this is myself.
Well, I for one think you're nailing it. I don't want you to doubt it for a second. You're crushing today already.
Right. Can't fix the headphones. Talking over you. We're doing it.
Despite all that, still here.
Still here. Didn't Maya Angelou say that? That's so wonderful.
Yeah. Yeah.
She probably said something.
She said a lot of stuff.
She said a lot of shit. She made it to like 99 or some shit. So, she probably said that at some point.
Right. She's just talking. That's not.
Yeah, she was just at like a sit-go being like, still here.
Y'all shining, black women. That's what she just said for 90 years.
Look, we ain't got time to talk about Maya Angelou and all of her famous sayings, because you came to us with a conspiracy theory that I couldn't be more excited to discuss. This is
I want to
one
get
that,
in on it.
Yeah, it's I don't know how you feel, Bory. It's one that was not necessarily on my radar growing up.
I went to summer school, so I've heard this one.
Right.
Oh, you've heard this one before.
Yeah, I went to summer school.
Is this a very summer school conversation?
The type of people who are at summer school are the type of people talking about this, yes.
Fair enough. I was very lucky not to have to go to summer school, so maybe I missed out on this fun. But you said, my mama told me.
Bob Marley didn't die from skin cancer, but was killed by the C.I.A.
Yes. Well, she told me he died of cancer for sure, but the CIA gave it to him. That's what it was.
Oh, she's of the injection theory.
Right. Well, yeah, I think everybody thinks it was the injection theory.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're saying this is common knowledge that it's
definitely had cancer. He definitely had cancer, but how he got it is what my mama told me. She was like, he didn't just get cancer. He didn't get skin cancer. Yeah.
This is all very exciting for me, but tell me more. help
Well-
me understand what this injection theory is specifically.
Well, I'm a little offended first by David saying that like this is a summer school idea because I'm like, what you mean all Jamaicans in summer school? What you trying to say?
Oh, there were Caribbean kids there. I just meant it was like bad kids.
Spreading the lies.
But there
Yeah,
was a Caribbean contingent, yes.
for sure, for
Well,
sure.
come on, you know that there's Jamaicans at summer school. Don't do that
Right.
to me.
Well, I was there spreading it, but it still offends me.
Felicia's the one who told me. That's
But
the
it is
whole
still
thing.
offensive. No, but the whole thing is that like he had skin cancer. You know, he got like melanoma, and number one, like, okay, y'all black, so y'all know.
Mhm.
So we don't really, get skin cancer a lot, and specifically like Jamaicans don't get like they in the sun a lot.
That's
You
where
know what
they
I
live.
mean?
Yeah.
That's a lot. Like they don't get skin cancer like that, and then he got
And
it.
you guys, Jamaicans are especially close to the sun, it seems like.
Careful,
Y'all-
Langston.
You
Like-
would think that. That's your ignorance right there. That's
Y'all
your
got like a front row seat. You got like prime tickets to
It's
sun.
like Miami level. It's not that far.
I don't know, dog.
Bro,
Them-
I've been there. I'm David. I really support. I really thank you for that support, but it's pretty damn hot. I was.
It's hot as
I was
fuck.
gonna say it's hot in Africa
It's
too, and we are
fucking-
close.
It is hot. It was hot like a few months ago. Yeah. Like, everyone there, ain't nobody got skin cancer. They walking around like nobody gets skin cancer. You know what I mean? They don't wear a lot of sun. They're not like nobody's jumping on the sunscreen, especially in the 70s and 80s. Like no one's jumping on sunscreen like that.
I didn't
you
know. Did you know a lot of black people are wearing sunscreen now?
Yes.
Yeah.
They lit me up on Instagram for that, for making it, because my little brother's light skin and he has to wear sunscreen and we always make fun of him. And then a bunch of people went bad on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I do think there is a movement towards black people in sunscreen as of late. And
Oh,
as a
yeah.
person that's had to pretty much wear it my entire life, I
I'm
for our
sorry for
listeners at
laughing right
home,
now.
I'm slightly lighter than the than the average black person, I'd say.
Holy shit. I'm just starting to see it. Really? Langston. Holy shit.
That's right. I don't
not
follow
Puerto
the
Rican?
rules the same way these other dark motherfuckers do. I do my own thing, you know?
I use sunscreen. That's why I'm late.
But no, it is. I think it's becoming more of a wave where, like, truly, I go out with like darker skinned people, and they're
Absolutely.
like, "Yo, I'm putting this shit on too. I'm not getting
Absolutely.
burnt up."
Is that to save us from skin cancer?
I would hope so. I can't imagine. It's either that or everybody saw Sammy Sosa and was like, "I'm trying to be on that shit."
I'm sure, right. But I have a question though. Do light skinned people get skin cancer? Do you know, Langston? Speak for your people.
Yeah.
Do
tell
y'all get a
us.
lot of skin cancer?
Tell us.
I
Sarkis.
think I think if I may speak for the entire light skinned community, I think we
I'd rather
definitely.
you sang it.
I think we
Oh,
we
God.
definitely are more susceptible than our darker skinned counterparts. I think the lighter you are, the more likely you are at least threatened by the possibility of it. And I imagine that a bunch of like family history and shit plays a part in that too, right? Like if I'm looking at my family history, the white side of my family, skin cancer is a very real thing.
Mm,
So like it's a threat on my end. So I got to do something about it.
Right.
right. Well, that was a whole problem with the conspiracy because I know y'all don't believe this, but there's light skinned people in Jamaica.
Mm.
For sure.
I
Absolutely.
believe that.
Yeah,
I believe
like from
that. Sean Paul.
I swear to God. I swear to God. And the thing is, that's exactly what I mean, but I hate that you like Shawnee P.
Yeah, Sean Paul. Listen, Shaggy
Yeah.
wasn't that dark.
Yeah.
Isn't there a lot of Chinese people in Jamaica as well?
There is. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I back it up with like a fact.
One fact for nonsense. I
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
That's what David brings to the table. He says Sean Paul, and then he backs it up with a fact about Chinese people.
But he's right. And you know what I mean? That he is right. There is like, and they had a native like community there before called like the Coolie and all them. And they like lived in the mountains. They were lighter skinned too, like Native American looking. So it's like very kind of like, there's light skinned people there and they never got cancer either though. You know what I mean? So it was the reason a lot of people believed it back then is that it was a conspiracy because like, they were like, oh, he's half white. You know, do y'all know Bob Marley's half white?
I did not know that.
I did know that.
His dad. David,
I keep tabs on.
Surprise!
I like to keep tabs on who's doing the good work out there.
that's so funny. Yeah, but his y'all. I like you in summer school. No one told you that y'all were just lying on Bob Marley.
This was before Wikipedia.
Okay.
Nobody knew any. We were all just lying about everything.
Okay.
Sure.
Well, his dad is white, and his dad was British, and now they have like all kind of lineage tests and stuff, and they found out his dad's side was susceptible to skin cancer. But there's light skinned people in Jamaica, so everyone's saying like he's half white. They're like, so everybody, a lot of people here have a lot of shit. You know what I mean?
Right.
They ain't got skin cancer, but his dad specifically had it. But they don't believe that now. They're like, oh, you found out in 2017? Oh, okay.
I mean, I will say that there's some validity to what they're arguing, right? That like in a country that has been colonized and raped and pillaged by this oppressive force, there
British
is
people.
some argument to be made that like everybody's mixed, everybody got some shit up in there. Why is this particularly the most famous man to ever come out of this nation? The one that is falling to such a foreign disease.
What Barrington Levy is fine. He's fine right now. Shaka Venus, Plies, both fine.
They walking around. Walking around, but not. Well, I think it was also they kept saying that like it happened right when it was the height of his career too. You know what I mean? It wasn't like he was coming up or coming down. Like he was like really hitting the peak, really getting money, and they were like, Nah. You just gonna take us out at 36? Nah, we don't die at 36. Because they don't die at 36.
Didn't they also try to kill him like before? Somebody tried to assassinate him and it didn't work.
Yeah, he had like 3 shots to the chest. 100%.
So he was
like 5 years before. Yeah. He was lit up in his house. It's pretty
unkillable, kind of.
Right. That's what Jamaicans love a story. This is what I'm saying. Real after school activities. The love a story. He was like a god. Yeah.
I love the idea that David was just hearing people be like, who was the original 50 Cent? Bob Marley. Just getting shot up and rapping about it and singing songs.
Not joking. Sang the next day. Not even joking at a festival. He was really
it was 2 days later, but close. Yeah.
It was 2. Why are you gonna shit on the 2?
You know what I'm saying?
Man.
Well, if it was me, I'd have been out there the next day. But I'm just a realer motherfucker than Bob Marley. You know what I mean?
This is insane. I'm not gonna let you just talk like this. I understand the point of this podcast, but this has gone too far.
He's like, I'm harder than Bob Marley. Period. Period. That is so blasphemous. I'm looking like you don't understand. Jamaicans will be like, you gonna fucking talk to Langston after that shit?
Yeah, that was crazy in that like I've never heard anybody say that out loud before.
Out loud, yeah. It's like
and that's why the listeners keep tuning in,
You ain't never met Jamaicans.
That's why all 12 of our listeners keep on coming back, because they're like, this motherfucker be spitting.
Right. No, but he got shot up, I guess, in 2 days. After he started singing and stuff like that. But he knew, everyone who knew that, it was Jamaicans. Like everybody, that's the thing about Jamaica. Like they know that wasn't no like attempt from nobody else. Jamaicans was like, yeah, we shot him up.
Because I feel like we've derailed a little bit. You originally introduced a premise that we haven't quite tackled. The injection theory, I believe is what you called it. You have not yet explained what is the injection that we are talking about here.
Well, David, please, I know you'll fact check me with the Chinese. Run this by the Chinese.
I'll have check you.
But he was visited by like an American photographer, and they gave him some Converse, some Converse, and he put them on, and in like the toe part, he got stuck by a piece of copper. Which is like, why was that? But everyone says it was copper. And he screamed like it really stuck him. And then he found out like 6 months later he had cancer in that toe. Skin cancer. Also, the skin cancer was underneath his toenail. It's like, listen, Jamaicans got shoes. Don't ever fucking pretend. He had a lot more skin out than a fucking toe. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the location is also a huge reason why people are like, what?
It is. It's a wild location. I'll say that. Of all the places for skin cancer to develop, and again, I get it. He was a very crunchy man. He in all likelihood,
you were going nuts, man.
Look, what is he still around? Are you? What are y'all defending?
They're still a country, and they go nuts.
They go hard.
They punch car windows with their hands, and that's fact check that.
Dude, where did you go? Where did you grow up, David? Where the fuck
What?
are
No,
you?
Washington State. I just saw it on YouTube one time.
I'm so over you. That's like, no, yeah, they've under the toe is ridiculous. That's fake.
It's a wild place for
But notice
cancer
nothing about
to
the car
develop.
windows. That is crazy.
Because you're not gonna get me fucking canceled by my people.
See.
You not.
It's not a
gonna have
crazy
me out
thing I
here.
said. It's not a crazy thing I said.
I'm about to run to your house and punch out your fucking car.
Very
But talking
Jamaican.
about Jamaicans
Very
like
Jamaican of you.
No, but I'm trying to stay on topic. That's
I'm
my
sorry.
problem.
You're
Sorry.
fine. You follow where your heart leads you at this point.
He had it underneath his toe, and that's
Yes.
the thing. That's why also it connects back with the shoe. That's why the injection theory stands so strong, because they're like, of course it's injected underneath the toe, because nobody gets, like, he wouldn't have gotten cancer underneath his toenail, so it had to come from that shoe that time. And then they said the photographer, they found out his father was in the CIA.
The
Yes.
photographer.
The photographer who gifted him the shoe, his dad was in the CIA. Now, this is my argument. This is the only thing where I disagree with the conspiracy, because I feel like Jamaicans just ain't never heard of like nepotism in a real way. You know what I mean?
I'm not
It's
gonna
like,
say anything about Jamaicans as a group for the rest of this podcast.
Yeah, take your time. You relax.
I gotta.
There's no reason to burn any more bridges. You're obviously very nervous about the Jamaican retaliation that's going to come from everything on this podcast.
I
You
think
take
you're
your time.
alarmingly not nervous. That's what I'm worried about.
well, I've already called my goons on you, so it's like you should be a little worried.
Listen, if their technology is anything like
I
your
swear to God.
headset, I assume their guns are going to require them to put powder in it and reload their muskets. I'll be fine. I'll get away.
That's how Bob Marley survived. Like, he was like shot in the chest by fucking old gunpowder from the 60s, smashed up with like sand, but he made it.
So here's my question. I think this is the important remaining question that sort of lives on the table is why the CIA? Why I understand that the CIA potentially this was the kid of the CIA agent, but why would the CIA want to assassinate Bob Marley?
Oh God, your white half is showing Langston. Why the CIA?
Uh-oh.
It's the CIA. Have you met the CIA in the 70s?
No, I have
Killing
not.
indigenous Africans. That would be
Yeah.
KIA. Damn, that would have been good though. Damn it.
They supported a lot of, like, they wanted to mine in African nations. They wanted to align with certain political groups. And Bob Marley was spreading a message of being like, he wasn't against them personally, but he'd be like, the Western world needs to stop doing this. In his music, he'd be like, they need to stop going here. They want to take it. He changed the mindset of the people of the nation. You know what I mean? And it went against their money, period. The things he said went against Western money. So, and then that's what I'm saying. That's why I feel like this one thing was nepotism. They're like, they blame it specifically on the CIA because this kid's dad. But I'm like, listen, you get a job for the New York Times being a photographer if your dad's in the CIA. That's not actually,
Right.
you know what I mean?
True.
That's
You could
America.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a
Yeah,
good
it
point.
doesn't have to be. It could have been, the KGB. It could have been any. I do feel like though.
You don't think it was the Americans? He was speaking English.
I think we funded it. I think we fund a lot of
shit.
things. That's what I'm saying. I think the money. That's what I'm saying. We were like, oh yeah, for sure, or anybody.
We funded it, but we gave it to somebody else. Almost like
Right.
the movie XXX State of the Union.
Exactly.
Like a XXX style operative.
Exactly
Sure.
like Triple X.
Is that the Ice Cube one?
That's Vin Diesel, right?
State of the Union is Ice Cube.
Oh,
Yeah.
damn.
So Vin Diesel was in the original Triple
Triple
X and then opted out of the second one and then found his way back to the third one, I believe.
That might be the case, yes.
What's the third one? Niggas Unite? Are both of them?
Well, I don't think Vin Diesel said that.
He's not black?
Isn't he black?
He's black. Langston, you don't know your own?
I
I thought
actually
you knew.
disagree, y'all. I'm not. I think if you've done your Vin Diesel
Look at
research,
those
and
lips.
as you know, I'm collecting them all. So I know my people. Vin Diesel grew up with a black stepfather, but claims that he does not know his actual father's racial origin. Now,
But his mom had a disposition for men of color. We do know that.
That's true, and I will say that
And I'm going to assume that the stepdad wasn't her first.
I don't think so either, but I will say he looks like he's mixed with some black up in him, but I don't think Vin Diesel is particularly proud of that, nor is that something that he would want associated with him.
I need to see him with longer hair, and I could answer that question for you.
That boy got some black in him.
I think that's why you've never seen him with longer hair, is because he doesn't want you to know.
No.
That's really. Oh, no. Jesus.
Also, isn't he kind of pigeon-toed?
I think Vin Diesel's got a lot going on with him. Pigeon-toed.
Right.
Maybe mixed. Makes phenomenal music on the low.
Did you say phenomenal? This is confusing.
I love Vin Diesel's music. I think it's maybe the best thing that he puts out into the world.
You think it's better than Bob Marley's music now?
I'm not here to compare. I think that's apples and oranges, sister.
Oh no.
God.
One of those gives me joy in a very sillier way, and I won't say which.
Oh no. Well, one works with the CIA in movies, and one was murdered by them. So I see where you line up.
So last question before we go to break. I have to know, where did this conspiracy come from for you? Who originally injected this idea into your bloodstream, as it were?
This is kind of ones where it's like it's so early on, I can't even remember. Like this is barbecue talk. You know what I mean? This is like Bob Marley didn't die. You know, I've been hearing this like my whole life. Maybe 10 was the earliest I can remember, but like this is common knowledge.
Yeah, this is like they already cured AIDS.
Yeah. Right. This is like maybe it came from, I would say, like my dad. My dad's a Rastafarian. He has like, the whole thing. So I'd say him.
So you, a young, a 10-year-old Felicia, he's
right.
sitting down to be like, hey, this is how you tie your shoes. This is how you do long division. And of course, Bob Marley was not killed by cancer alone.
Naturally.
It was the CIA that
gave it to him. They injected him with it 100%. Well, they were more yelling it around a barbecue, but yeah.
Also, Haile Selassie is Jah.
So you hear this, right, and you are immediately bought in. You're like, absolutely, love you,
100%.
Papa.
100%. Like that sounds, because also like that's what I'm saying. Skin cancer underneath the toe is just so. I've never even heard of that ever. Period. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Much less the greatest man that ever at the time. People. Listen, there's only 2 men on my walls in my house, and it's Jesus and Bob Marley. Like
that is complicated.
Yeah.
That's.
So it's just kind of like
there's a lot of white men.
Cross. It's a wooden cross, so he brown. It's carved, but he is definitely up there, and it's very like they just can't believe. So yeah, I was 100% like, oh yeah, that's just what happened. He was injected.
All right.
Yeah.
That okay. So you're 10 years old. You're 100% bought in.
Right.
There's no doubt in your mind, and finally that remains true to this day. You've never wavered on that faith.
Oh, 100%. Because I know the governments now. I'm like, you're lucky you didn't kill the whole family. I'm like I'm scared of everything. I'm like, yeah, they can definitely do that. They could definitely do that if they wanted to. So yeah, I'm like, what, I'm going to turn on Jamaicans? This is all we have.
I've been trying to not turn on Jamaicans this whole podcast.
David, you're so canceled.
No, don't.
And guess what?
Don't put me with him.
Guess what? I'm not going to let you guys. We're going to keep this party going. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Felicia Folkes and more My Mama Told Me. And we are back.
No one told you life was gonna be this way.
Yeah, we're back here with more Felicia Folkes. More My Mama Told Me. We're still talking about the possibility that Bob Marley was not killed by naturally occurring skin cancer, but was instead killed by the CIA. The injection theory is what we're being told. And David, I believe you have something to share with all of us.
Yeah, I just put it in the chat. This is a picture of Vin Diesel in high school. Proof that my man is 100% biracial.
All right, let's take a look at this. Can you all see my screen, or is that? There we go. That's you can see it now, right?
What is that?
That's a biracial young man.
Okay, that's not what I meant.
That apparently is Vin Diesel in high school with hair. For those of us at home, he's got those Michael Ealy eyes that
he
you hear
does.
all about, and he has a thick head of lamb textured hair. What do they describe Jesus's
That's
hair
right.
as?
That's biblical hair. That's what I was just about to say. That's head of wool right
Yeah.
there.
It matches his broad nose and thick lips.
David's into him. He's like, hold up. How old is he? 18?
I'm just saying that kid, that is not a white boy.
Not at all. This is a black man.
He's certainly not a white boy.
Look at those eyebrows.
He's got to be at the very least some sort of Dominican or
possibly a West Indian.
Yep.
Right. Like
some
this
kind
man
of
is
Guyanese.
black by design, and this is a black by design topic. Those ears, I don't even know. That's like Will Smith ears. Don't you feel like
everything about it?
This is a black
everything
man.
about it. That's yeah.
Well, I encourage you both to get in contact with Vin Diesel and make him make peace with his situation, because I don't think he's a fan.
He blocked me right now. He was like, I see these niggas looking at my old photos.
He's like, I'm not gonna play this game with y'all. You can get the fuck out of here. I'm a good God-fearing white man. And Helen Mirren, for some reason, is my mom, I think, in Fast and the... Isn't that what it is? Isn't it Helen Mirren his mom or some shit?
Damn. He passing hard. To pass
and
in 2022.
John Cena is his brother. It's all very crazy.
Yeah, that shit was nuts. Because they say he's Latino, right?
What?
Dog.
I couldn't tell. I can't tell.
Okay.
I'm trying to tell y'all, he's not happy about what you're offering up. And you keep being like, nah, it'll be okay.
That's us, though. We're not going to let y'all go. We're not going to let y'all go.
No. Also, The Rock is black. Don't forget. I just sometimes have to yell it. Because, like...
The Rock is not black.
He is!
The Rock is...
He doesn't want to be, but he is.
Yeah.
Wow.
You see how
he's like
what he did?
half like black, or like a quarter black, a quarter like Samoan, and then some other stuff. We got to jump into this research
we do.
because we have a lot to cover.
I'm
As
excited.
you mentioned, Bob Marley died at 36 years old, extremely young.
So young.
Jesus age.
He died in Miami, which I didn't realize, on May 11th, 1981. His final words apparently were to his son Ziggy, saying, "Money can't buy life." Those were the final words that he articulated.
Who else was in the room besides Ziggy?
Stop it.
I don't.
Nobody. It was just his son. Don't do this. Don't do this.
Well, he had a lot of kids.
That's very articulate for the last. The last thing I'm going to say is like, "Oh no, I think it was blue," or like, it's not going to. It's not going to be.
There's an interesting thing with that. A lot of people hear that's y'all Western thinking. A lot of people hear that and think like he means it as like a, oh, money can't buy life in a romantic way, but he meant like, oh shit, money can't buy life. I think it was a level of realization too. He was getting money. He was like, these people really thought they could like eat. He was holistic, he was like a vegan and stuff, you know what I'm saying? So he thought he could like health his way, and he didn't want to cut his toe off because of religious reasons. Because they could have saved him. They could have saved him and cut his toe off. And he wasn't going to do that.
So you think that money can't buy life was a code to Ziggy being like, hey, don't follow the path that I ultimately decided.
And what did Ziggy do? Made a band called the Wailers. Or the Melody Makers.
Stop. I just saw them at the bowl like 2 years ago for the pandemic. We love Ziggy. We love all Marleys. Y'all not going to do this to my people.
I didn't do anything.
You brought these people up. We truly are just pointing out what they did. And you're like, how dare you mention them as people at all?
He did. I'm just saying, he did say that, but I don't think it was very kind of like, money, tell the people. I think he was like, fuck, money can't buy life, yo.
Right. Oh,
you know what I mean?
It was more disappointment than it was like inspiration.
Kind of just the reality, you know what I mean? Right. But everybody just want to be so romantic.
So to that point, he died of something called acral lentiginous melanoma, which is a form of skin cancer. He was diagnosed in 1977, as you mentioned, under the nail of his toe, but it did not spread. It spread over the course of basically 4 years before it eventually killed him in 1981. This is the suggestion, at least. Right. Now, doctors did suggest that he have his toe amputated, but he refused because of Rastafarianism and instead opted for a skin graft, which did not stop the spread.
Right. You know, that's why I said that quote, because for a long time, no, I'm not joking.
No, I'm listening.
Because you laughing.
I'm having a very good
this
time.
is my cut.
It's a comedy podcast. That's usually what we end up doing, is laughing at the silly shit somebody says.
I'll just say, like, because for years though, that's what I'm saying. Like, he had the cancer, and then it started to spread to his brain, and it started to wear on his body because he was very fit. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
then I feel like when he said that at the end, and then he started trying to do the skin grafts and trying to kind of do things when he was like, oh shit, you know what I mean? That's why I said I felt like he was like, yeah, money can't, goddamn, you know what I mean? Money can't do it.
So to that, he actually, to his fitness and to his attempts at curing this problem, he actually collapsed while jogging before a gig in Pittsburgh. This was meant to be his last gig in America. I guess it wasn't meant to be his last gig in America, but it ended up being the last booked gig he had in America, where he then flew to Germany to explore food-based treatment with a person named Dr. Joseph Issels, who was a doctor that claimed to be able to cure the incurable cancers.
Right. And listen, Jamaicans think that now. They'll be like, even if they do like chemo, they'll be like, okay, but I'm gonna do my shit. I'm
gonna go ahead and eat these grapes over here.
Oh yeah, they'll consult like their guy. No, like there's a doctor they consult, and they're dead serious too. They're more serious about that than the Western medicine, for sure.
So to that point, it is worth noting that this Dr. Issels was actually declared his treatment rather was declared a dubious treatment by the American Cancer Society, and he was also labeled a quack even in other holistic circles. Other holistic doctors were like, "Hey, bro, that nigga's he ain't doing it."
Let me get my Hotep hat.
Even the hippies thought that he was an idiot.
They also were like, I don't think this dude's on some real shit right here.
Well, I don't know why he went to Germany. I don't know what the Germans have ever. I'm not entirely sure why they had the location.
I'm going to say it. I don't trust their medicine. And you can take that out of context. Yeah. I don't give a fuck.
And they will. But I feel like, I don't know why he went to that guy, but he was going to do that anyway. That's what I'm saying. He was going to go to some sort of like holistic guy. Like who's verified holistic? That's what I'm saying though. Like,
is there a verified holistic?
How do you verify that?
I thought it was like a word of mouth. Like, hey, doctor, I went to see Dr. Sebi, and now, you know.
But you saw Sebi?
No.
How old are you?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think he had a chance to see Dr. Sebi.
No, you don't know that because I'm 72 years old. Thank you, Dr. Sebi.
Thanks, Dr. Sebi. Alkaline.
Yeah.
I know, really. But like Sebi's verified to people. Is that a verified like holistic guy?
I would argue that Sebi is verified in very specific communities, and there are also a lot of people.
What communities, Langston?
Huh?
What communities?
Niggas, I believe is the pronunciation.
Okay, niggas. I gotta look them up.
But I will say that there are a lot of people who consider Dr. Sebi a quack.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's so much so that there are, I think, pending lawsuits about some of the things that he was putting out into the world.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, don't listen to him. They say that about every whole, you know what I mean? All he told him to do was like eat some vegetables, probably. Like how much of a quack? He probably should have, you know?
Well, I actually looked up what the treatment that this Dr. Issels was offering. And the crux of the treatment seems to be asking people to remove any teeth containing metal fillings, following a strict diet, and eliminating alcohol and caffeine from their diets. That's more or less the extent of it.
That would make you feel a lot better.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's one of those like, hey, you'll touch your toes much faster than if you keep on doing the shit you're doing before.
Right. But did he tell him to stop smoking weed?
It does not appear that was on the list.
Right. Okay. Interesting. Okay. Because that was, I feel like he was really like, I'm blazing up. I feel fine. That's what I also feel like. I feel
Do you think he felt fine till the end?
Yeah, I do think he felt fine for a long time. Until like the last like 6 months, I think.
Well, to that point, one of the reason that he ended up finding the skin cancer in the first place was because he was playing soccer. Mm-hmm. They call it football, I believe, in your country.
They do.
I'm a learning man.
Your country from
He
Inglewood,
was playing
California.
football.
And your people. How do you say it?
He was kicking around the old
musical
football.
people, I hear.
No, yeah.
And then ended up like hurting his toe in a way that felt far more dramatic than the actual like activity would have required.
100%.
And then ultimately went to see a doctor, which then exposed the supposed skin cancer.
Right.
Cancer does make your bones brittle, so I would imagine that makes sense.
Yeah.
It started in his toe that his toe broke.
Right, but it was on
Real
the
fact.
skin. Me coming now, I'm on his. I'm like, but it was under the skin. It was on the skin. It didn't get to the bone yet. It wasn't on the bone yet.
If it's under the toenail, it seems like it's probably going to spread fast, I guess, or at least is deeper. It feels like that's deeper than just knuckle skin. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, they could have cut the toe off and saved him, though. So it wasn't.
That's right.
You
The
know what I mean?
doctors did tell him, if we cut your toe off, you'll be fine. And he was like, no good.
Right. That sounds like I don't know. People are very like obsessed about not getting their stuff cut off. But I tell you what, you can cut my whole foot off for $1. I don't even give a shit. Not even sick. I don't give a fuck. Who cares?
All right. I mean, this is a weird brag, but sure. Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, it's a lot of Jamaicans are upset though. They are kind of upset with him too. Like, it's the conspiracy that, like,
they're upset
why'd you
with him
let them
for not
kill
doing
you?
it.
Yeah. They're like, you could have saved yourself. You know what I mean?
Right.
We needed you. So it is kind of like, that's what I'm like, I'm getting hot under the collar. I'm like, cut it off. They should have just done it anyway. We needed you.
So one of the things that I wanted to look up was how common skin cancer actually is for Black people. Because to your point, Felicia, there is a fair argument that it is so uncommon that it feels almost impossible that this very, very famous Black man would die of such a uncommon disease.
And very specifically Jamaican, though. I'm not joking. Like, they in the sun. Like, I'm just saying, like, they outside a lot. Nobody is.
That's right.
Yeah.
They're outside a lot, assuming at some point his toe was covered, so it wasn't even a part of his skin that could easily be exposed to the sun. Certainly not at the same rate as like his face and his neck and shit.
Right.
And according to 2018 CDC research, one case of melanoma occurred per 100,000 Black people, compared to 25 cases per 100,000 white people.
So they're 25 times more likely to get it, 24 times more likely to get it than us?
I think it's 25. I'm not a good at this stuff either.
Oh my God, right. Oh no.
I think it's 25, maybe more likely, 25 times more likely to get skin cancer.
Either way, they get it a lot more than we do.
All I heard
way
was
more than
mixed
Black people
is dangerous. That's all I heard. I'm like, yikes. Y'all in danger.
And that is why I'm an advocate for sunblock of all
What's your
kinds.
SPF?
Oh, I don't study it well enough to know all that.
I know that's the question they ask. I've heard it at the pool.
Yeah.
Or like at the beach, they're like, "Oh, I can't use this. I'm a 60."
To me,
I don't know.
At this point, I just need something. Just give me a taste of that sweet cream, you know?
Well, they say over 30 it don't work no. It's like it's the same. Between 30 and 100 is the same, but a difference between SPF 15 and SPF 30 is huge.
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
why did you just laugh like you didn't know what I was talking about?
Because I don't want to align with you. I told you in trouble. And
I'm not in trouble. I'm the only one coming from a good place here. Both of you have skin in the game. I'm Dr. Sebi.
I'm Dr. Sebi. Yeah, that's not going to get you in trouble. That pulled out without context. I'm Dr. Sebi yelled into a microphone.
You'll be fine. You'll be fine.
I hope so.
So to the larger question of, because this is the big question that I asked you and the question that I was asking myself in the research is, why would the CIA want to kill Bob Marley, and specifically, why would they want to kill him in such a almost painful, cruel way, right? Like, this is not a easy kill the way that, like, as you suggested before, they did in his assassination attempt. And on December 3rd, 1976, let's talk through the assassination attempt. Marley was shot in the arm and chest by an assailant who was never identified and never brought to justice. No one was ever charged with the shooting of Bob Marley, his wife, and one of his homies at the time.
Right. Y'all know the story of his how his wife survived too, right? It's pretty iconic. It's pretty
No,
great.
I don't know this story.
She was shot in the head, and it was an inch from her brain. The bullet was saved her thick dreads. It it got stuck and
Whoa.
stopped, and it like this close from her brain
Fuck.
because her dreads were so. that's some real Jamaican shit, right?
Yeah, so it's like
really
proof
kinda
that you
beautiful.
aren't supposed to ever cut your hair ever.
Right. No, people thought these niggas were gods. They were like, yo, they are the greatest Jamaicans to ever live. Yeah.
I do. Can I come back to this? Why would the CIA? Because
Sorry.
like, as far as like controversial reggae music that I had heard as a child, I never thought that Bob Marley was nearly the most
No.
controversial. Like, did your parents listen to Lucky Dubé?
Oh, who the hell that is?
That shit was like, he
Man,
has
straight,
songs
I'm not
just called False Prophet about Jesus.
Right, but he wasn't as popular. See how I said I know who that
No.
nigga is? Like white, like Bob Marley is one of the most famous people alive that ever lived. Musicians that ever lived.
Right.
His spread was getting the white ears, and that was
It was
their
too
problem.
much.
It was
That's
hitting people
true.
like fundamentally who could like do something.
So to that point, one of the things that I found in my research is that many claim that the attack was a result not just of his influence in terms of white ears, but his influence on the pending Jamaican election of that
Right.
year. So
Right.
Bob Marley had at one point supported the Jamaican prime minister that was backed by the U.S. at the time for re-election and against the socialist opposition that was being backed by Castro. But later, Bob Marley opted to play more of a neutral part, and through a bipartisan concert, I believe it was called like the Smile concert, where he basically was just gonna like be like, yo, I ain't supporting nobody. I'm just out here spreading love and shit. And then, oh, please, Felicia, it seems like you know the story.
Right. I want to get in on this because
Please.
I don't want the slander of him. I feel like it's when niggas would be like, we all grow up and we like, I'm a Democrat. You know what I mean?
Yep.
But then you get you the most famous person alive. You know what I mean? And then people started trying like to use you and stuff like that. He's like he didn't have no political party. He wanted to do concerts about literal world peace. Like he literally came out saying, I have no political view. But he voted a specific way coming up. You know what I mean? Like because that's like he was, he's from the island. You have a view, you have a way. You know what I'm saying? So I kind of feel that people use that against him, being like, oh, he was picking apart because it was like there was a war over there. Like literally, people were dying. It was hot. You know what I mean? Like more people were killed. Like they say he was assassinated, but people were killed way separate from him. You know what I mean? Hundreds of people were killed over that election. So it was kind of like he didn't want to be involved. And I just want to like say, I just want to say his legacy and be like,
well, I didn't say anything to shit on his choices. I was merely documenting what he had previously done. And I will say,
wait, which side are you on?
Right.
Me?
Felicia, what, come on, like.
Whose side in terms of what?
On that election.
In that election from 1976. Who did you vote for?
You just seem to have a very strong.
So my parents, they got on a boat, right? And they got the fuck out of there. That's what they did during that election. Okay. Everybody was like, how do we get the fuck? Because it was like brutal out there. That's what I'm saying. So when they came up to him and was like, hey, you support my party now. You know what I mean? Because there's some real, they were like, you work with me now. We grew up together. And he was like, no. You know what I mean? Like, wait.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to create, I don't have no party. You know what I mean?
So to that issue, right, and this is where things get hella complicated, is Bob Marley basically decides to take this neutral position to just make music. But the prime minister decides that when he's throwing this Smile concert, that he is going to change the election date to the exact same day of the concert. Which then leads people to believe, and this is Bob Marley's fear, as well as, what it sounds like was an actual result of it, leads people to believe that Bob Marley is throwing a concert in allegiance with the prime minister instead of it being this neutral thing.
The current United States-backed prime minister.
Yes, the prime minister that the United States was backing. And when Bob Marley gets upset and he goes, man, that ain't what the fuck I was trying to do.
Right.
It becomes a bit of a concern by all parties involved. But then Bob Marley is now frustrated with the results of whatever this is, and ultimately is sort of pushing back. And some say that that is the reason for the U.S. to then support an assassination against his life, because if he were to vocalize his frustrations, it could potentially change the scope of that election and then change the scope of the entire Caribbean, right? With
Right.
now Jamaica turning into a socialist regime.
Right, which would have
100%.
given them a much bigger foothold, right?
Much bigger problem. Because they have a lot of they took a
Then
lot.
how easy is it to turn Miami? You know what I'm saying? It's like right there.
It's right. No, literally.
Then the DR goes, and then we're done for.
Yeah.
Sure.
He was definitely set up by that. He was definitely set, and not even like they were trying to set him up. It would help them. Everybody in that island is trying to come up. You know what I mean? So it's like, he was like, oh, you're having a concert. Let's have the election same day, make it my situation. But it's very much like, yeah, you set him up. You set him up to look bad. And he had no choice. People were going to come for him. And he just wanted to make music. That's what I'm saying. I feel bad. I feel like Bob just wants to smoke weed. Like, you know what I mean? He's like really was just vibing off the energies on some real shit. And people were really like on top about, they talking about the Democrat. He's like, I don't even care. Like, I'm talking about like, I want my people to have food, Yeah.
Right.
Right.
He truly wanted to just solve world problems and then
Really?
found himself in a very small political situation that affected the world.
The world, literally. And it's like, I don't know how he could have handled that. But I do feel like that thing you said about people not knowing who shot him up, it's like, they know exactly who shot him. I don't know what y'all talking about. They don't know who shot him. They know who shot him.
I have no idea. I just thought they didn't know. I'm not.
They know.
That wasn't a fact.
Go to Kingston. Ask some questions.
Oh, is this like a they know who shot?
They know.
Oh, okay. Like they know.
They know.
And that's what that is the one part that makes me feel like this conspiracy if nothing else, the attempt on his life feels like it has a lot more ground of y'all never seem to be able to figure out the motherfuckers that shoot black famous people.
Right.
And it's
crazy.
weird. You know what I mean?
So
like,
weird.
Why the fuck can't you find these motherfuckers, but you knew exactly who shot John Lennon because he read Catcher in the Rye? Like,
immediately.
You're being
also,
strange.
who didn't?
Stop. But it's like, I wanted to breed it. No. It's weird too, because in Jamaica, everyone, I'm not trying to hype it up, like, but everybody do know everybody too. Like, everybody, it's tiny. I'm like, it's tiny. So it's like, they know who shot him. They know why they shot him. They talk about it. They tell you why they shot him. You know what I mean? And so it's very much kind of like, what is this idea that like, we don't know and there's a lot of mystery with his life? It's not no fucking mystery. You know what I mean? He'll show you his 17 wives. You know what I mean? He'll show you all his kids. Like, everybody know his life was very public. So this idea that like, we don't know why anybody would want to hurt him. We don't know why the government want to hurt his toe. It's like, y'all, stop playing. You know what I mean? Stop playing this game. Y'all.
We don't know why the government would want to hurt his toe.
It's crazy. Who puts copper in a shoe? Like, have you ever put a shoe on and found a piece of copper that's stabbing you in your foot? That's nuts.
I put so many different shoes on.
That's one thing you got to know about David Bowie.
So
That
many.
man put so many different shoes on.
So many.
Lefts, rights. It's crazy. Never seen copper.
Pumas, New Balance.
Converse. That's bad for Converse, though, right? Like, when I was like, Converse 10s? Converse 10s took out.
Damn.
I already wasn't going over there, to be honest.
Ooh, okay.
Wow.
That's sponsor lost.
A lot of devastating admissions here. We're going to take a break. We'll be back with more Felicia Folkes and more My Mama Told Me. And we are back.
Son of a bitch.
No, I pressed the button that I shouldn't have pressed, but it went too long. Yeah, we're back here with more Felicia Folkes, more My Mama Told Me. We're still talking about the possibility that Bob Marley was assassinated by the CIA specifically.
But no, say it.
And C.I.A.
With the,
Talk
by
that
the CIA.
talk, Langston.
Talk that talk.
By the Cancer Association of America.
Oh, no, I was talking about the entertainment group.
Oh
Oh,
my God.
Talk that talk.
That's so funny.
Bob Marley was killed off by agents who did not yet have him
Right.
under their umbrella.
They're like, you're not going to fucking sign? You're done.
I've never seen him and Michael Ovitz in the same room.
Oh my gosh, no.
Okay. Let's knock out, because I do think that this injection theory that you've been talking about deserves a little bit more digging into. So as you mentioned, the theory is a person shows up to one of his concerts, makes their way into the back where Bob Marley is chilling, offers him a pair of Converse sneakers. He puts them on, screams, ouch, only for them to discover that there is a copper nail inside of it that has pricked Bob Marley's foot. They assumingly think nothing of it, just throw the copper nail out and move on with their day. And then 5 months later, he's diagnosed with toe cancer.
100%. That don't sound wild to you?
It all sounds very wild. What I will say is that the original conception of this, or rather, I don't know that it's the original conception. Let me be clear. The most recent sort of like findings related to this conversation came out in November of 2017 on a QAnon adjacent site published, which published a article where they claim to have gotten a confession from the former CIA agent on his deathbed, admitting to the assassination of Bob Marley, as well as 17 other figures throughout like a window of like 10 years during his time in the CIA.
Oh, wow.
Who were the other figures? Any other notable figures?
Yeah.
I don't think there were any other notable ones.
That's what I'm saying. This don't even...
random Jamaicans, you know what I mean?
He's like, yo, dad.
And I'm sorry that happened, Felicia, and I pray to God you get justice when this is all done.
It's Bob Marley. I don't know. I feel like with this guy, people start dying. I feel like a lot of CIA agents do that, though. They start dying and being like, I killed
a lot of CIA agents. You feel that?
You know that classic CIA agent trope?
No, do you not know, like, okay. Not CIA, but like military. They'd be like, "Oh, I was in Fallujah, and I'm the one who took out Fallujah man." Or I was, you don't see, you never
I'm not
heard
sure
this?
You know what we were doing in Iraq.
I love that you think Fallujah man is like a spinoff from Florida Man. That it's just a wild guy who's out in Fallujah being crazy.
We took him out. I really feel like that's what happened. I feel like I'm just saying, a lot of people, I feel like on their deathbed, isn't that what The Irishman is about and shit like that?
I did
be
not
like,
get
I killed
through
John
it.
Hoffa. Do you guys not?
Yeah, I believe The Irishman is about the dude who about a theoretical man who Martin Scorsese was so bored he wanted to make up to be able to explain what happened to John Hoffa.
No, this is a real
You mean
book.
Jimmy Hoffa?
This guy
Yeah,
wrote
that dude, Jimmy Hoffa.
Oh.
Yeah, no, John Hoffa. Jimmy Hoffa's daddy. No, it's Jimmy Hoffa. I'm mistaken. And
the
it's
mob
Felicia's
killed
fault.
him, right? Because the Teamsters?
Yeah, but this is a real thing that happened. This is a real guy. It was a real
Jimmy
book.
Hoffa was killed. He was probably killed by the mob because of the
Right.
Teamsters and his affiliations.
But this guy really came out and said, I did it. And I feel like a lot of people do that.
He
That's
said
all
he
I'm saying.
killed Bob Marley. He said he put the cancer on the nail.
Yeah.
Well,
He
that
put it in
is,
Converse, which is a crazy move.
to be clear, that is the claim of the article written in this QAnon from this QAnon website. Now, it is worth noting, and I can't wait to hear you all's perspective on this.
No.
The supposed confession explains that the agent Bill Oaksley pretended to be a photographer at a show, got close to Marley, and then offered him shoes as a gift. It was not in his confession. He doesn't say it was his son. He says it was him himself that did it. Now, more importantly, and again, can't wait to hear your thoughts on this. The CIA claims that no agent by this name, Bill Oaksley or William Oaksley, has ever been employed by their agency.
I wouldn't say it was my son either. Even if my son did do it. I'd be like, it wasn't Rico. It was me.
Sure.
I'm going to be a good father to the end, first of all.
Oh my God. The CIA just said they don't know him? That's it?
They said we have nothing to do with any Bill Oaksley or William Oaksley.
Yeah, they could be saying that. Why wouldn't they say that? How am I supposed to know? I don't believe them.
That's a fair argument, I think.
Like,
there's no reason for them to come forward with this information voluntarily.
Right. Does this guy have like paycheck stubs from the CIA? And they're like, we don't know this fool. We don't.
Where's this? Does he have a wife?
Again, when you do a QAnon research site, you know, they ain't exactly digging. I will say that there is no evidence of Bill Oaksley being an employee of the CIA.
Okay.
Not just by the CIA, it's the CIA's admission, but through other third-party research, there's no evidence of it. But against you guys' larger point, if I'm the CIA, I'm not leaving this motherfucker behind. He literally killed the sweetest, nicest 36-year-old in history.
Right. Well, I was
Second.
okay.
Next to David Bory.
No, Jesus Christ.
Well, he never made it to 36.
Yeah, that is the 3, though. I like that.
Top 3? Oh,
Top
no.
3. I'm 35, but we'll take it.
David, this is so funny. You keep comparing yourself to Bob Marley. Like, you're like, me and this guy.
And Jesus. This pod is a win for me.
That's
just a bunch of sweet boys who didn't do nothing to nobody. And 2 of the 3 are dead, but one of them still kicking around.
Exactly.
Well, that's exactly who the CIA would kill, though. I feel like, a nice person. They're not going to kill a guy doing what they need.
Their next plan is to assassinate the voice of Comedy Central.
That's why I don't wear Converse. I told you that early.
They're coming.
I don't do it. Not enough support, and because that's how they get you.
Oh my gosh, Converse.
That's how they get you.
That's how they get you.
Oh no! Oh no! Oh no! I do feel that, like, I don't know. I feel like if you put on a lot of shoes and you meet a lot of photographers and you a famous guy, you can know a sketchy situation. You know what I'm saying? That's all I'm saying. Y'all been in a lot of rooms like, yeah, that night stuck out, and I feel like he was like that now. Bob Marley was like something that stuck out to me at that day.
I wouldn't take shoes from a photographer. That sounds crazy.
And I do think that does speak to...
Hey, I brought you some shoes. Now let me take some pictures of you already.
Well, it's a gift. It's American shoe. Like, right? Converse are American, right?
He wasn't impressed by American shoes at this point.
No, no. But like, you give people like a foreign thing. No, I'm just saying, like, you give people a foreign. You go back to Africa, you don't give nobody shit from America. They kind
of course, that's I have to bring extra backpacks.
Right. That's what I'm saying. They've seen Converse, but if you bring them Converse right now, they'd be stoked.
Okay, I guess I'm curious, and I've never had to bring anybody anything. This isn't. I don't know where my people are from, so we just go, what's up?
I'm sorry, Langston. I don't know what you want me to say to you right now.
You don't have to say anything. I guess
sorry to the black diaspora.
Ain't no diaspora. We from Indiana, man. That's as far back as we get. I will say that my question, I guess, is it normal to try on the items in front of the person who gifted them to you? Is that like protocol that like you give me some Converse and I have to put them on in front of you? Because for Bob Marley to go out of his way to put on some All-Stars feels odd.
I think that's a great point, Langston.
I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna blow your fucking mind right now. I'm not
excited.
even joking.
I can't.
Huge Jamaican kind of thing. Like, if you buy something new in the store, you wear it out the store. It's a huge kind of thing, especially with shoes. Like, it's a thing about, like, you don't want to die with new shoes, like in a box next to you. It's a whole kind of, it's a saying, and it's better said than that. I can't remember how to say it, but it's the whole thing. Like,
how they say it?
I'm not, see.
By the way, none of us have gone into patois this whole episode.
Very respectful.
I think that's very good.
And I'm very respectful. I would like to say, my family they're like, please shut your fucking mouth. Don't ever try. Every time I try, they're like, you sound like the whitest person. You sound whiter when you're trying to do patois than when you sound talking in English.
And that's I think where you got all this confidence from.
I swear to God, I'm gonna throw this drink at the screen. I'm not gonna fucking do this with y'all. I'm just saying that Jamaicans you'll put the shoes on.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's not a thing to not do that. 100%. Like, it's a shame to like die with new shoes. Kind of. They're like, what the fuck? Or like a new jacket, and it's kind of, they're like, what you doing? Put the jacket on. Leave the store with the jacket.
So here's the last thing that I looked up that I think is worth discussing before we get out of here is that I did research whether or not it is even possible to give someone cancer through a infected nail.
100%.
And as it turns out, I went in skeptical. I said to myself, that don't even sound like some shit you could do. But as it turns out, it is technically possible. It's 100% possible that by injecting someone with enough like bacteria or virus, you could potentially introduce something, enough toxins to their bloodstream and their body to give them a thing that would lead to them getting cancer. Now, the big argument against this supposed infection theory is that it requires a lot of math for the person injecting to be able to nail even before even if you were successful in infecting him. So it requires not only to infect him, but then it requires for you to be able to like let the shit sink in. And then it requires for him to voluntarily not get it treated. And then it requires for that, even that infection to spread as effectively as it did. It's a bunch of math you can't always calculate for. Whereas like shooting a nigga in the chest, you got a pretty good chance you're gonna win that.
You would think, unless you Bob Marley.
Unless you Bob Marley.
Or 50 Cent. I don't know. I feel like at that time, though, you can just put a lot of cancer on a stick. You know, it's a little copper net, you know. Well, how much math do you need to put?
Yeah, if I just put too much.
Right.
I put like a bunch of extra cancer on it, it's going to go.
Right.
Right?
I do like them being in a lab and then somebody be like, whoa, Steve, that's too much cancer. He's like, no, I got a plan for this one.
We got to make sure. We got to make sure. Keep him away from doctors. It's pretty, I don't know. I feel like you could get somebody cancer from a nail. That sounds completely plausible to me, especially because the nail was copper and everyone knows. I was like, what's a copper nail? I ain't never even heard of that shit. What you talking about?
Oh, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I've only ever heard of copper piping.
Right. A copper nail?
A copper nail, what is that?
It's a superconductor. It's a great transmitter of
guys, I feel like you feel like you nailed something that I'm not sure I understand. Why does it being a copper nail make that big of a difference?
She's right. When have you ever seen a copper nail, Langston?
Number one. And different metals hold different things. Like they rust faster, they contain bacteria more. It's a whole thing. Like gold like really transfers information a lot faster than any other metal. It's a whole thing. So copper
information?
Yeah, no, yeah.
That is true. They use gold for wiring because it somehow, whatever technology, it allows it to move smoother and faster than other types of metal.
I know copper is the most expensive.
Okay, because it transfers cancer.
Right. Like if somebody moves out of a house and you were to go in and get all that copper piping, you would have a lot of money. I know that.
Yeah.
A lot of money. What do you mean by a lot of money?
No, you actually can get pretty rich from stealing the copper piping from people's
People
homes.
strip copper out of bandos.
Oh,
it's not just a Colorado thing.
And they give Bob Marley cancer with it. Copper is a crazy metal.
So it sounds to me, just based off of this conversation, like nothing changed for either of you. That there's no part of you that doubts even for a second that Bob Marley was not assassinated and in fact was just irresponsible with his cancer.
Well, that's not true. One thing you said really stood out to me that really, out of everything you said, changed my mind. It's when you said QAnon. I was like, well, hold up.
Yeah,
hold up. Who agrees? Oh, no. Wait a minute. Is my whole family wrong, actually?
Or maybe everybody's right. Maybe where we go one, we go all.
Yeah. David's eyebrows are moving up and down in a way that none of us like. I think you're heading down a dangerous slope if the people who think JFK Jr. is secretly in a Joe Biden costume are guiding your hand.
Right.
Listen, I'm headed to the truth. That's what I know.
They're the only people to get a name. That's in the 30 years of my living. This is the first time I ever heard a name attached to the murder. So it's like, okay.
All right. Well, it sounds like we did it, y'all. It sounds like I don't know if we nailed it, but it sounds like we definitely landed this plane as best this broken plane can be. Right. Could you tell Felicia, the folks, where they can find you at home and what cool shit you have going on?
You know, I'm just doing shows. You can find me FeliciaFolks.com. I put shows there, around, touring, trying some stuff, trying to get that hour going.
Hell yeah. So go follow Felicia or at least go to her website and check out where she's doing comedy. And Bori, tell the folks where they can find you and what cool shit you got.
Man, go to my Instagram. I'm currently on tour. I'm always kind of on tour. So, I'm going to be I don't know when this comes out. I'm going to be in Bozeman, Montana. I know that you have a
Ooh.
strong listener base there. So, June 25th and 26th, come to see me. Don't worry about me. Where are you going to be, Langston?
Right.
Thank you so much for asking. I similarly have some shows coming up. Jesus, this all derailed. Just follow me at Langston Kerman on all platforms. You don't gotta come see me. Fuck it. Just enjoy yourselves. Watch Bust Down. I don't know. Oh, and as always, you can send us your conspiracy theories, your drops, your bad opinions about our work at mymommapod@gmail.com. I would love to hear from you. Otherwise, that's it. Bye, bitch.